Welcome to the review of Chapter 16 of A Course of Love, and the title of this chapter is What You Choose Instead. So it begins by reminding us that love isn't available from anyone. We all go around looking for love from different people and different sources, and this tells us nobody can give that to you. That's because love has only one common source, and it lies within each one of us. And it's that common source that makes us all the same. So this relates back to the idea that we all have individual personal selves, but when it comes to our capital S self, our real self, we just have one source. And in that place, we are all the same. Your wish for specialness keeps you from seeing your sameness. For what is the same can't be special. So everybody has it, then what good is it if everybody has it, according to the mind? And that's why we seek to be special, to prove that we're lovable or valuable. Verse 5 tells us, "For judgment is what is required to make one special and another not." It's the only way we have to maintain the illusion of specialness, by judging, analyzing, categorizing, for good and for bad. Judgment began with the self. We judged ourselves thinking we made a mistake. When we created the world of illusion, we think we actually usurped the power of God, and of course that's not possible. And judgment looks past what is the same to find what is different. We don't want to see that core loving center of which we are all a part. We want to see our differences, and so we don't see the things that are the same, because we want to see what makes us special and different. And judgment is the function of the separated mind. Without judgment, we would not have the experience of being separate, as we would be able to see where we are the same, and there's no separation in that. And constant judgment is required to continue seeing a separated world. So it's not just don't judge other people for being wrong because that's a bad thing to do. That's not what this is about. This is about the recognition of the fact that our mind is constantly analyzing and assessing who's better, who's worse, what's more pleasant, what's unpleasant, constantly finding the place for every experience and every individual in the world of duality. And that's what's keeping the illusion of separation in place. So how do we overcome our habit of judging? I mean, assuming that we want to, how do we do that? We're so accustomed to it. He tells us through our hearts. A forgiven world is a world whose foundation has changed from fear to love. Now, remember that true forgiveness isn't about pardoning. It's not about, you really messed up, but I, in my graciousness, I'm going to let you get by with it. That's not what forgiveness is. It rests on looking for our mutual innocence. It recognizes that nothing that's happening here is real. If you'll remember that concept, whatever comes of fear isn't real. It doesn't matter. It has no effect. Therefore, I look for what's the same, and I can see your innocence. I can see my innocence. Verse 12, true forgiveness simply looks past illusion to truth, where there are no sins to be forgiven, no wrongs to be pardoned. So when we get to that place of truth, there's a recognition that there's nothing going on here that's having any effect except for love. Love is the only thing. Speaking of love, you think love doesn't make good judgments. That's why you fear love. You think you need to judge in order to protect yourself. Because how many times in the past have your judgments been faulty and brought you to a point where you think that you were harmed? So we have this defense against love because we think it's not logical. It doesn't follow logical reasoning. Verse 14 tells us, you think you cannot give up your vigilance because you know no other way to ensure your safety. And even if you can't guarantee your safety against everything all of the time, you believe you can guarantee your safety against some things some of the time. So at least we have some defense when we're vigilant and we develop a sense of judgment. At least we don't let everything in to hurt us. This is the way of thinking of the illusion mind. But verse 16 says, just look, tell the truth. Your judgment has not made the world a better place. If history proves anything, it proves the opposite of what you would care to believe. The more the individual, society, and culture indulge in the desire to judge, the more godlike they make themselves. So if you look at all the cultures and societies that judge the harshest, they've made a mess of it. It is only the Creator's right to judge, and that's unchangeable. And of course, when we say the Creator, that's an energy, the energy of love. It's only that energy that has the right to say this shouldn't be happening. And that's not our business. And when it gets down to it, it doesn't even work. In verse 19, judgment does not make you safe. And defining evil does not abolish it, but only makes it real to you. I've seen this over and over again. People think that if you just say this is out there, this is a threat, this is what kills people, this is what happens, this is how people respond. I mean, just look at the news. People think that if they can define evil, it's going to protect them from it. But it doesn't do anything except make it real, except make the fear real and perpetuate the whole dance. But what is real power? If it's not judgment, what is real power? Verse 20, all power comes from love, as does all justice. Justice is not payback for things that you've done when you've screwed up. That's not what justice is. And all power, real power, comes from love. Power is possessed by those who claim it, by those who cry, I am, here I am, this is me. For the beginning of power comes from the rejection of powerlessness. So when we stand up and say, here I am, I'm present, I'm willing to tell the truth about that, I'm willing to face whatever is going on, I'm willing to be present in my own shoes, that's when we take our power back. When we stop hiding from ourselves, hiding from the truth. We've gotten into this habit of just lying to ourselves constantly and lying to others. And when we reclaim our power is when we're willing to just tell the truth about what is going on in each moment and accept it. Stop running from it. Verse 24 tells us, you give away your power and then bow down to those whom you've given it to, for you are afraid of nothing more than your own power. That resonates so much. It resonated with everyone in the class where we last did this review. Because really that's what we're most afraid of. We're more afraid of our own power than we're afraid of failing. We know how to fail. We've become experts at that. We know how to process that. But our power, our real power, That's what scares us the most. So we might ask, why? Why are we so afraid of our power? And the answer is given to us right here. You are afraid of your power because it created this world of illusion. You don't trust it anymore. We think we screwed up. We think our power created the world of illusion and took love and threw it out the window. And we know that's a huge mistake, but we have convinced ourselves that's real. So instead of claiming your power, you try to comply with the rules and hope that everyone else does too. You think the noble thing is to give up what you want for the common good. So that if everybody goes by the rules, everybody keeps their head down, and everybody plays it all right, then we'll all be okay. And if somebody doesn't go by the rules, then we try to put them away and get them out of our society, because we're all complicit in holding this whole illusory world together. And it is really, maintaining the world of illusion is dependent on all of us being afraid of our own power. Verse 26, the chapter ends, if you cannot claim at least a small amount of love for your own self, then neither can you claim your power, for they go hand in hand. Notice that self was the capital self. There is no common good as you perceive it, and you are not here to assure the continuance of society. The worries that would occupy you can be let go if you would but work instead for the return of heaven and the return of your own self. So you can give up all of your plans and your anxieties and your worries about making your life and your world right, and do the one thing that we're being called to do here, and that is to turn within and find out who we really are, and see if we don't actually love our true selves. And when we do that, we now have uncovered the power that will help us see the world as it truly is, instead of see this world of separation and illusion. And so we leave it there at chapter 16. Just the recognition that our protection and our power comes from the journey within, and really establishing an intimacy with our true selves, not the personal self that we have thought that we were, but with our true selves, which can be found only in that one place within. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you in the next chapter.